How should I start off this?
I don't know. How do we usually start out?
Well, I was also told that I run another phrase into the ground when we start out a video.
Good morning, everyone. There, that's a difference.
Well, technically, it's not morning.
Oh my gosh.
So now what do we do?
I don't know.
Hi, folks. This is Bill and Deb.
Hi there.
That's different. I didn't say, hey, everybody.
Whatever.
Anyway, what we thought we would talk about today, we get a lot of folks that email us with questions. We get a lot of folks that message us also through Facebook with questions and things like that. And we got an interesting message just the other day. Now we've had it's not a major surge, but we've had a surge in subscribers in recent weeks, which we appreciate so much.
And very much. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yes, we hardly ever ask for people to subscribe, although we've got a few videos out there where I toyed with please subscribe bouncing through the screen and stuff like that, in case some of you watched it. But very seldom do we ask people to subscribe, and maybe we should ask folks more often to do that. But yeah, and we're not growing by leaps and bounds. No. But we're happy with the way things are going, and we feel like that the audience that we have, for the most part, and I would say way up in the high 90% range, is an awesome audience that that appreciate what we're doing, and we appreciate you appreciating what we're doing.
Oh, how's
that sound?
This is getting drippy.
Getting drippy. Hey, that's a new adjective.
I know.
Getting drippy. Never thought about that one. But anyway, we got an interesting message from a recent subscriber, and I thought I might read it to you right quick. He says, "You two are an inspiration. I've been watching your videos for about 2 weeks. I have the fever. Don't know where it's leading to, but I want to be able to take my Harley Davidson, my Ford F-250 diesel, and do a build. Any advice?"
Well, we get this question a lot from people that say, "What do you need to start a build? What do you do?" They don't know where to start, and all we can do is tell you where we started.
Yeah. And the main thing to consider is, what your intended use is going to be for the cargo trailer, which this gentleman here, he spelled it out very plainly. He wants to be able to take his Harley with him, and travel and still have a sleeping area, I'm assuming. Kitchen, bathroom, basic facilities. And of course, lots of people build in different forms. All depends on your intended use. Are you going to be living in it? Are you just going to be traveling in it? From time to time. Are you going to be hauling toys in it? Are you not going to be hauling toys? There are so many things to think about.
Do you mind using, are you going to always stay at a campground that has a shower and a bathroom?
Yeah.
Do you mind using their shower and bathroom, or do you want your own?
Or if you're going to go, or are you going to go out in the boonies where, you can
take an outdoor shower?
Hang a gizmo from a tree limb, and because nobody's watching. There's always somebody watching, though.
But everyone's needs are different, is what we're trying to say here. So you've got to kind of pick up what your needs are.
So the thing that kind of crossed my mind when I read this, and other questions like this, is a lot of folks out there don't realize the multitude of options you have when it comes to purchasing a cargo trailer to do your own particular build.
Right.
Okay. And there are a plethora of options out there, and there are companies out there that will build it to your specifications. And when I say to specifications, they'll put doors exactly where you want the doors.
They'll put windows where you want windows.
Exactly.
They'll put vents where you want vents.
Right. They'll put, build the height however you want it. There's options, and a lot of folks just simply go to a local cargo trailer dealer and they pick something out off of the lot.
Well, that's easier.
Yeah, it's easier. And a lot of folks don't know this too, but this is actually our third trailer. We did purchase our very first trailer we ever purchased, and we never really did any videos about it, was we experimented with a 6x12, and we contacted a company out of Georgia and had them build a 6x12, and I didn't realize all the options available at the time, and so I went with basic things. I did go with a different height, and I did have them put windows in it, and I did do the purdy stuff, like I had them do the the chrome trim all the way around it and stuff like that. And then as I started researching stuff even more and discovering options, that's when we optioned out our red trailer, more so, when we had it built. And then when we moved on over to the one that we currently have now, which is an 8.5 by 20, I incorporated some other options in the build of the trailer for them to custom build for me that I hadn't realized was available. And that's what we're going to talk about right now. Now, as you know, trailers are available in a variety of sizes. You can start out with like a 4 by 6.
They're little.
You can start out all the way that small, but your most common trailers that people seem to buy the most of are 6x12, 7x16s, and 8.5 by 20s. With a few, here and there, they're a little different than that. But first, I'm going to start with the basics that I consider to be very important. The basic things that you want in most any trailer you're going to do. Now, there's still some variables there, but a lot of people don't realize this, but most standard cargo trailers come with 4-inch drop axles. And you may need a 4-inch drop axle because that gives you a lower, your floor of the trailer sits lower to the ground. If you're going to be rolling a motorcycle or a toy or something in it from the door at the back, you may want that lower stance because it'll make it a little bit easier, to pull your bike in or your side by side or whatever you have. But if you're going to be adding things like sewer drains and stuff like this underneath the trailer, you have very little clearance there. Now, our 7x16 had the standard drop axles, and I actually had to, in order to make my sewer drains drain properly, every time we set up at a campsite,
we had to raise it.
We had to raise it by using a series of what I call those Camco Lego blocks and build ramps that I could raise it up high enough so that my sewer drains would drain properly.
Because the blue boys, I guess, is a common term.
Right.
Your thing you towed up to the sewer, to the dump station, they're yay tall.
Right.
And then time you get where you can fill it from your trailer that's yay tall, but you've got a drain pipe, water don't go uphill.
That old saying that plumbers say for years, and I'll substitute a word: stuff don't run uphill. Mm-hmm. So sometimes you'll see folks out there, lifting up their drain tubes, and doing this to try to get it to go ahead and drain into whatever they're trying to get it to drain into, whether it be the sewer at the site or into a blue boy in order to haul the blue boy up to the dump station to dump your sewer water. So height is the key, especially if you're going to be using it like a home or you want to plumb it very similar to an RV. So what we did with this trailer, we did not go with the drop axles. We went with the standard straight axles, which gave us. Well,
we toyed with the idea of doing a flip the axles on the red trailer.
And technically the term flip is not really what happens, because you can actually get kits for drop axles, which we toyed with doing on the red trailer. You can actually get a kit that will move the axle from where it fits above the springs to below the spring, and you'll get about the same clearance as if you bought straight axles. Now, if you're going to have a trailer custom built, and you can go ahead and have them build the trailer with straight axles, which is what we did with this trailer.
Right.
And now we have had no issues with drains. I've never had to raise the trailer
because of our drains.
Because of drains. Never have. And we've been traveling now for what, over a year?
Almost 2 years. In June, it'll be 2 years in this trailer.
I swear.
I know.
Man, time gets away from me. And am I any handsomer now than I was 2 years ago?
Absolutely. Eyesight's fading.
So anyway, so consider that. Consider straight axles instead of drop axles. There will be an added cost option You know, I don't know what the last figures were because prices have changed since we had this trailer.
Dramatically.
Yeah, dramatically. But always consider that and ask that question. But here again, it depends on what you're going to be using your trailer for. Let's get that out of the way.
Right.
Now, something else that people don't think about a lot, and we kind of covered this a little bit here a while back when we talked about the weights of the trailer. We actually also did a video about comparing this trailer to a standard RV that we almost purchased instead of this trailer. And there are certain things that you need to be aware of before you start. The first and foremost thing is, just like on this trailer here, when we picked it up, before we ever started our build, the tongue weight was over 400 pounds. It was around 450 or something like that. The trailer weight itself, before we ever started our build, and this is an 8.5 by 20, was around 3,400 pounds. So the trailer already weighed 3,400 pounds. The tongue weight was already over 400 pounds. Now you can go in and look at a standard RV that's ready to hook up to and tow off, and all you have to add to it is the stuff you need to go traveling with. And you'll find tongue weights similar to that already in a trailer that's comparable to the size of this one. Now, the way they measure a regular RV trailer is they measure the length of the trailer. It includes the length of the tongue. So this particular trailer would be comparable to something in the 25-foot range, even though this is an 8.5 by 20. So keep that in mind when you start. But when you pick it up, it's already going to weigh almost as much as a trailer that you pick up at from an RV dealer that is ready to hook onto and go.
So that means you've got to take into consideration your tow vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you got to.
Is your tow vehicle adequate for that, or
right.
Are you going to have to do something different?
Yeah. So, yeah, always think about your tow vehicle. Now, in this case of this gentleman that emailed me his Ford F-250 diesel, I don't think he's going to have much trouble, with most anything that he might consider. Unless he's going to do something like a 30-foot 3-axle or something like that, Now, another thing between typical RVs, one reason why we have a higher tongue weight than a typical RV is the axle placement. And this will help you when you're trying to decide how you want to do your interior layout. Traditionally, with any cargo trailer, most any cargo trailers out there that I have seen, traditionally the axle center line is 60% back from the beginning of the box, not from where the V starts, but from the beginning of the box itself. So in other words, this trailer is considered to be an 8.5 by 20. The axle center line sets 12 feet back. Okay. They traditionally, on cargo trailers, set the axle center line further back than they do on a traditional RV trailer that you would buy from an RV dealer. The main reason why is because what do a lot of people use cargo trailers for?
To haul cargo.
Well, haul cargo, but
stuff.
also to haul toys.
Right, heavy
And
toys.
when they pull in a side-by-side or a motorcycle, where does that motorcycle or that side-by-side end up setting in the trailer?
We hope over the axle center line.
Well, or towards the back of the trailer.
Right.
They put it, because it's setting towards the back of the trailer, so that's why you start out with a pretty good amount of tongue weight to begin with, and why they move the axle center line back to lessen the chance of not having enough tongue weight. And yes, let's get this out of the way now, because there's going to be a lot of people come in and say, well, you need to have your tongue weight to be 10 to 15% of the total weight of your trailer. That's your minimums that you need to try to achieve, is to make sure that your tongue weight is 10 to 15% of the total weight of the trailer. So in other words, if our trailer weighs 7,500 pounds ready to travel, we would want a minimum of 750 pounds tongue weight. That's at 10%. Now you can go, they say 10 to 15. We're above 750 pounds. We're over 1,000 pounds. Fortunately, we have a weight distribution hitch that is rated all the way up to 1,400 pounds, and we're towing it with a 2,500 Chevy van, a heavy-duty 2,500 Chevy van. We have no issues with the tongue weight because of the way our hitch is arranged and everything. But keep that in mind, that the axle center line is back further. So And when I say axle center line, on a dual axle trailer like ours, when I say the axle center line, what I'm referring to as center line is that center point between the two axles, that center point. That is the axle center line. Obviously, on a single axle trailer, the axle center line would be, in the center, right above the one single axle. Another thing is always consider getting an extended tongue. The standard tongue, is right up against the V, and there's so many reasons why you want to consider getting an extended tongue and paying the extra money to get that extended tongue. First and foremost in my book is I've towed trailers without the extended tongue. The last two trailers we have had, which was the red trailer and this trailer, both have the extended tongue, and the difference in how they tow is like night and day. It is well worth whatever the option is for that now, and I think it's around $200 to get the extended tongue. Always try to go after that. The next thing is, what was the next thing? Oh, a Bulldog hitch. The standard hitch, that just has the standard locking mechanism, they're good, and they're a lot better than they used to be. But man, a friend of mine recommended on this trailer that we have them put a Bulldog hitch on it, and a Bulldog hitch, the way it clamps onto the ball is entirely different, and man, I feel so much more secure with that thing. I have lost a trailer before. Years ago I had a trailer come loose that had the standard type hitch, and I was young and stupid at the time, and guess what, I didn't have any safety chains either. I've learned a lot, sometimes from experiences I don't want to talk about. But fortunately, I was able to stay in front of the trailer. Fortunately, the trailer didn't hit anybody. And finally, when the trailer started to slow down a little bit, I was able to position my truck right in front of it and let the trailer hit me. And anyway, I learned a valuable lesson right there. But yeah, I have lost a trailer before, and the Bulldog hitch, and I think I paid like $90 for that option to have them put the Bulldog. It doesn't matter, it was a while back. Now another thing is height. You can get custom heights. You don't have to settle for the standard height you might see at a cargo trailer dealer.
Which I think 60 to 65 inches.
Well, it just all, yeah, sometimes they'll order some a little higher. Now, our particular one, this one, we went with a 7-inch ceiling on this.
7-inch?
7-inch. Thank you so much.
I think we went with a 7-foot.
That's why she's here. We went with a 7-foot ceiling, and there were reasons why we did that, because we were planning on raising the floor in the bathroom in order to accommodate the drain that we needed to come down to our shower box pump, which when we do our walkthrough video on this before too awful long, we will show you exactly how all that stuff works. But that's why we went with a 7-foot ceiling. So, but you have all kinds of options there on how high you can get the ceiling. Other things, here's something that a lot of people did not know. A 7-foot wide trailer has exactly the same track width as an 8.5. And when we did the red trailer, one reason why we went with a 7-foot wide is because I was concerned about pulling something 8.5 feet wide down the road. Well, guess what? In theory, I was still pulling something that wide.
Because your fenders are on the outside.
Right, the fenders are on the outside. They use the same axles on a 7 wide as they do an 8.5. So I still had that same track width. I still had to watch it very closely when we're on very, very narrow roads. Here's something a lot of people don't know. You can actually, if you want to stick with a 7 wide, but you're concerned about that extra track width, because you buy a 7 wide, you're still going to have the same track width as an 8.5. You can get what they call a narrow track. Now, a narrow track in a 7 wide, they use the axles they would use on a 6 wide. And what it ends up looking like when it's done, it'll have the little fenderettes. It'll look like an 8.5 foot wide, but it'll be 7 feet wide.
But your fenders are on the inside.
But your fenders are on the inside.
So now you have to deal with that.
So you will have to deal with the fender well boxes on the inside of the trailer.
Those things are 6 inches wide by
6 foot long.
6 foot long in our
case. And about
case.
8 inches tall. those boxes. And by the way, we did a video probably a couple years ago on basic dimensions: a 6x12, a 7x16, and an 8.5x20. And I'll post a link in the description and also in a pinned comment, which will be the very first comment in the comment section. And you can go in there and look at all the basic dimensions on the inside. And the one thing that will be variables, of course, is the height, you know, because you can get the height anything you want. What? So anyway, consider that. Consider looking
another thing
into,
that they will do is they'll put the doors anywhere you want them.
Yeah, which we mentioned that at the beginning of the video, but it's good to mention it again.
You can put that door.
Yeah. As long as it's not over a wheel.
Yeah, And one of the things we learned with the red trailer is if you do a 32-inch door, it's a chance that it is not tall enough.
Yeah.
So make sure the height of the door.
Be sure and check your height. These are what?
36 inch by 78?
78 or something. I know that I can stand straight up in front of them. Now, something else too, on 8.5 wides, they will have a footwell, like a little step, at the door. You know, you've seen them, I'm sure. A lot of people don't know this, but you can opt, especially if you get enough height in your trailer, you can opt to delete that footwell, where you'll have a totally flat floor all the way up to the door. And of course they'll be raising the doors up, you know, to set, you know, on the floor, but you can eliminate those footwells. And we that's what we did, and we're tickled to death that we did, because I know it doesn't sound like much. The footwell's only about that deep, you know, and of course it's going to be whatever the width of the door. But man, we appreciate it so much more that we've got this extra floor space. You know, it doesn't sound like much. Yeah, when you're building out a trailer, those little few inches are very important.
The other thing, if you do decide to do the ramp, most trailers are going to come with what they call a dovetail.
Right. Thanks for mentioning that.
That gives you an unlevel floor because they've curved the back down to meet the ramp, so it's all easier. Right.
Now, you may want the dovetail.
Yes, you may want it.
But in your particular design, let's say if you want you're not going to use it as a toy hauler, but you want the ramp to serve as a rear deck or a porch.
Which is awesome.
You probably wouldn't want the dovetail.
No.
You can opt to have the dovetail deleted, you know. Yeah. Now, of course, what she means by a dovetail, about this far in from the back of the door, the floor tapers down, you know, starting from here down to here, probably tapers down 4 inches.
I think it's further than that. I would say 36 inches in.
No, I don't think it's 36 inches in, but we're not. I don't have one to look at right now. But you can opt to make sure that they leave that dovetail out, you know. Now, consider knowing that your trailer, especially if you build an 8.5 by 20 like we did, knowing that trailer is going to start out at 3,400 pounds, and if you're going to be using it to haul a toy, and then you're going to have your build in the front half of it, and it even becomes more critical if you go to a 24. Strongly consider going to 5,200 pound axles rather than the 3,500 pound standard axles. They will come standard with 3,500 pound axles. Strongly consider going to the 5,200 pound axles, because you can easily go beyond 7,000 pounds. It's just like in our build here, I almost stayed with standard 3,500 pound axles, because I was thinking there's no way this thing's going to weigh 7,000 pounds or, you know, approach 7,000 pounds. Well, guess what? When we had it weighed here a while back, now keep in mind, because this is our home, so we're carrying everything in here that you would carry in a small apartment, pretty much, as far as clothing and cooking utensils and dinnerware, and you know, and all this stuff adds up. Well, we weighed in at a tad over 7,500 pounds, ready to go down the road. So yeah, it's a good thing I went with 5,200 pound axles.
Exactly.
Yeah, you know. So those are the basic things to think about. What else do we need to cover? Anything else that you can think of that we need to cover?
I don't think so.
Excuse me.
Oh, then another question someone asked me was, If the factory insulates the walls and the ceiling, is that a good option?
Yeah. Yeah, we had that question just the other day.
And I answered it and basically said some places do opt to go ahead and do the insulation for you. We didn't opt for that because we feel like we would do a better job insulating it.
Well, and we have also, on our family page, which is Tiny House Adventures Family on Facebook, we have had several people comment about that, where they did have the manufacturer go ahead and they bought the insulation package from them, and then when they had to tear some interior skin off, they found where they didn't do very well. You know, there was a lot of voids. I mean, not little bitty voids, but big voids. In other words, if they had an area they had to fill that was 16 inches wide by 2 foot, and they found something 14 inches wide by 1.5 foot, that's what they stuck in the hole, if you know what I'm saying. So I would, my personal opinion, if we were to ever build another one, which I'd have to go through a divorce first before I did that, I will never, ever, ever, I don't care how great I feel about the company that we purchased our trailer from, I will never have the manufacturer do the insulation package for me.
But that's our opinion.
Right. Anyway, we're going to let you guys go for now. I hope we answered some questions for you. I hope we didn't leave you more confused than you were before. Briefly, right quick, we're coming along on the music rack that we did a video about. And maybe the next video or the video after that, we'll show you what the end result is, and maybe there will be even a song at the end of the video.
That would be cool.
Wouldn't that be cool? That'd be sick.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be rad. Anyway, Bill and Deb with I Ride Tiny House Adventures. You know exactly what we're going to say. We're not camping.
We are living.
And you all get out there and you do some living, and we'll talk to you again soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.